Can't believe no one's taken me down yet, says Montium. As Papa Mitch just did it moments ago. You lasted a while for a 100 health boss, man. Some bosses last a while, and then some bosses last a while, and then suddenly you're down like 5 bosses in a row or something. Guys, we do have to the bottom left side of the map the red Zerg player. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on SortOf. Currently teamless, of course. Hopefully we'll find a new home soon. His opponent to the top right hand side of the map is the blue Protoss player, ShoWTimE. Representing the Armor team, German player on a French team, and is of course one of the favourites for this tournament. Very interested to see how well SortOf can do as well, by the way. Feel as though it should be a an interesting matchup. SortOf maybe not performing as well as we expected him to at DreamHack Austin, at WTS Austin recently. But I guess we'll see how this turns out this time around, basically. So see if he can do a bit better. So far, I mean, a pretty simple 2-0, I would say, so far for, you know, SortOf taking down Puck. ShoWTimE a pretty simple 2-0 as well. Again, these guys are the heavy favorites of this group, so both of them having a good time in the first match of the day. And well, I think it'll be interesting. I think Puck should come through against Braddock in the losers match. I feel Puck is a bit of a wild card in this group, you know. We expect these European players to do well, but Puck definitely can take them down on a good day with some good strats or something if he plays a good series. So this group has a lot yet to kind of a lot left to give, I suppose I should say. Anyways, win this winners match. Let's see how this continues on as we just see Probus mining away minerals and gas. Mine, 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 mine. Well, not mine, but like mining. I really need to come up with like a game or something to play at the start of PvZ with Twitch chat or something, because like the start of PvZ, I feel like every time we start up a PvZ, I really struggle to say anything useful and just to and just to kind of talk about anything really. It's a nightmare. It is a nightmare. It truly is. What's up, Alaris? How you doing? As we do see some lings just nibbling away at these rocks on the low ground. Gonna take those down. We do see the ling speed is about halfway done. Pneumatized Carapace is on the way up as well. And the Stargate coming in towards the upper right hand side too. So setting up into that Stargate, and in the meantime just gonna be seeing the not really anything else too crazy going on, I guess. Bro's just on the way out, drones building as well. And yeah, just looking to see how this goes. Winners match of Group C, guys. It's actually a really sick tournament. I love the idea of doing like an online 32-player tournament over the course of a weekend. Maybe a little bit intense on day number 1 where we have 8 groups all being played, but it just means it's going to be like an insane amount of StarCraft for you all to watch. It's awesome. Today's one of those days where you really do sit back, open up a couple streams, you know, whether it's both the English streams to watch all the games or this one and that one, whatever. And you just sit back and you really just enjoy the StarCraft. And you do bits and pieces, maybe play a few games while you don't pay as much attention to the stream or something. I don't know, but like, it's one of those days where you really just sit back and enjoy what is StarCraft. And it's Friday, it's the weekend. Here in Europe there's like, what, like an hour left of, well, here in England there's like an hour left of the normal work day. Who's already on their weekend? I know Arius is on his weekend, he was here before. Who's already having their weekend? Who's getting ready for the weekend? And obviously you Americans are maybe a little bit more, may have a little bit more of the day to go before the weekend hits in or kicks in. But don't worry, because we're going to be here to keep you all occupied. Don't worry, we're not going to make you focus on work and imagine that, having to focus on work and actually doing your job. No, guys, it's okay. You can just sit here and watch some more StarCraft 2. It's fine. Fear not. As we just this Oracle just sat to the far left side, this Overlord to the right, going to be running on over. Going to be just spreading out the Overlords, I guess, to get away from the Phoenix a bit. As we did see, the opening here was an Oracle, did a bit of damage. What's really interesting though is the second Stargate from ShoWTimE, +1 air weapons as well, and he wants to very quickly go into a lot of Phoenix, a big cloud of Phoenix, and probably Adepts after that too. And just play sort of a very heavy Phoenix aggressive style where the Phoenix is going to lift up a lot of units, they're going to do a lot of harassment, and then hopefully the goal is for ShoWTimE to slow this down, slow this down quite significantly by just doing so much damage to the Zerg throughout the early stages. So there's the fleet beacon coming in from ShoWTimE in the main base, which is nice. I'm just going to be seeing this Overlord is, again, just kind of scatting through the main base. You actually see a couple of these Phoenix going to be coming in, so they are going to pick that Overlord off. Again, 2 more Phoenix on the way in from ShoWTimE, getting set up, and they'll start coming around. Still there's Oracle around too, but hasn't found a chance to really do much more. When there's a Queen and a Spore in each mineral line, and there's only 1 Oracle, it's kind of difficult to get the damage done what you need to justify like jumping into a mineral line or whatever, you know? So it's going to be seen as the fleet beacon finishes. Any impulse crystals, just the Phoenix range will probably come on up. We see a Twilight Council too, so this isn't going to be a complete commitment into Sky Toss or anything. It really is just the Phoenix initially, and then going to transition out of this. The Stasis Sword comes in, good response by SortOf pulling his drones away apart from one of them. It's just a single drone getting caught right there as again ShoWTimE just going to be moving around with these Phoenix, looking to see where he can go, what he can get up to. There is the Graviton Catapult, he is going to go carriers, okay. Then I'm intrigued by the Twilight and the Forge. I am intrigued by the Twilight especially. What are you going to do for Twilight if you're really going to just invest in the carriers early? Phoenix here are going to be able to spot the Spire. A nice pull away on the damaged Phoenix, which was in the range of the Queen and a Spore for a little while. And we're actually going to see another Phoenix getting targeted. Well, that Phoenix does get targeted down in the end. Queen's flanking from the left-hand side, coming in. And having a good time. 6 drones killed. Good stuff so far. There's the Mothership. 2 more carriers going to be charged. So just going to get the Zealots up on the ground to complement the Sky Army. And obviously the Forge will be for some of those upgrades for the Zealots in the near future as well. Weekend hype, says Tokens91. Ready for the weekend, says Zuz PQT. Let's do this because I just woke up here in Central America. Well, you know, you gotta start your Friday at some point, don't you? Germany Bremen weekend from Ara. Cinco de Mayo tonight. It's my mum's birthday today as well. Isn't that exciting? I thought about my mum's birthday being Cinco de Mayo. She'll sing happy birthday to my mum. Happy birthday to you. Zerglings are surrounding at the front here. Should probably pay a bit more attention to this game. Sorry guys, stuff's actually happening in the PvZ for once. It's actually pretty aggressive, as obviously ShoWTimE is going to reveal the carriers to help defend against these Lings. These Phoenix still having a great time though, harassing away, but I mean look at the work account of SortOf. He knows he's going to lose these drones, and so he's already overbuilt drones to respond to this. Crypto's now on the way up. What I love though is that ShoWTimE is barely really committing to like mass Sky Toss. He's going for like, you know, he's getting the carriers and soaring up and the, you know, the Void Rays to defend against Corruptors. But he's also focused on Gateway Army. He's also going to have a ground force to play with as well here, which is going to be, of course, interesting. Ling's working their way through the rocks on the right-hand side of the map, and we do just see those Phoenix being pushed away from the main base momentarily. Small Queens up from the north, sort of trying to get in range to do something against those. Doesn't really find a chance to get too much done, though, in the end. And again, just the Templar Archives just dropping on down in the main base, just setting up once again to get a little bit more done. More another Stargate adding on again. It's such a cool mixture of just sort of Sky Toss and ground-based army that we're seeing right now. As we can see, the Stasis Ward is somehow not set off, and wow, SortOf sees it. Love that. Sees it, recognizes the little shimmer there, and so he pulls a single Ling away just to minimize the Lings getting caught. Doesn't do too much, but again, it's all about little bits and pieces here in this game, and he's just trying to find those little bits and pieces to kind of piece together to put himself in a bit of a better situation. Cannon will protect a couple of these structures, but the Caustic Spray will come down on the Nexus. Cannon's still in range of one of these Corruptors. If a Stalker will warp in, ShoWTimE. Not many warp-ins available apparently, and that Nexus is dropping and dropping and dropping. Void Rays pop out, Prismatic Alignment. I mean, it costs a couple of Corruptors, and he might even lose another one as well, as we see the Phoenix coming in to fight. I mean, it's never nice to lose a Nexus, but considering he killed 2 or 3, I mean, how many Corruptors died? 4? 4 Corruptors, 4 Nexus is actually not that cost efficient for SortOf. Obviously, the idea is he denies mining here for a while. The ShoWTimE had very little mineral mining anyways. It will slow down some gas mining. But with the 4th base already mining gas, ShoWTimE is not going to be set too far back by this little bit of an attack right here. Yes, let's see what's going to happen. Some Banes have morphed in to try and harass, but, well, Interceptors deal with those very easily indeed, so that's no problem at all. As we still see a good Corruptor cloud in the sky, but I'm not sure how they'll fare against what is now a pretty decent number of Voids, etc. An Archon underneath as well to make life even more difficult. The Zealots charge on in. Is there actually units to deal with the Zealots? There's 22 Zerglings. There's actually no counter to the Zealots right now. And I think what's happened is that SortOf has been so focused on the air army He just hasn't realized that ShoWTimE hasn't only built Sky units. Like, these Zealots just having the time of their life. There's a few Banes running in, and the Zealots actually clump up as they run towards them. Either way, though, the gold base has already been taken down here. These drones are in a lot of trouble as well, as the numbers of ShoWTimE's army just keep on increasing. Still going very well for him so far here, as it does take down another couple of Banes to the right-hand side. I'm just going to be seeing a single Zealot moving forwards as well, going to be fighting away and doing a little bit more damage. Here we go. Corruptor's going to start trying to fight, but again, those Void Wizards, Prismatic Alignment, are going to shred the Corruptors. We see the Archons tanking a lot of Bane hits on the ground. As here we go, the real fight starting on up here. The Overseers, if they go down though, suddenly the Mothership can defend all of this as SortOf. I mean, he's starting to clean out in the skies, but the Archons are just helping the Corruptor, getting the Corruptors so much. GG, and the first game does go the way. Answer the question. I mean, there's not a lot of Koreans in this tournament, but it's mostly because it is going to be held throughout not very friendly Korean time zones. And also, a lot of the Korean players are caught up this weekend with events such as GSL. GSL is tonight, right? So there's GSL on. There's going to be... God damn it. GSL is on. Tomorrow is SSL Challenger League. A lot of players preparing for Premier League on Monday, which have some important matches. So a lot of the Korean players not really too interested in playing this event. Having to play cross-server as well. There's a lot of stuff going on in Korea. A lot of people preparing for GSL, etc. So, guys, let's introduce the players. Bottom right-hand side, down a game in the best of 3. It is SortOf, our red Zerg player from Sweden. Currently playing from Korea, though. Has been there for practice. Obviously went to DreamHack Austin, but went straight back to Korea to continue his training. As to the bottom left-hand side, our blue Protoss. From our team, it is ShoWTimE. I love that build in game number 1. Really cool mixture of, again, sky toss and safely getting in towards a kind of a strong airbase composition, but without neglecting ground units so that he could still kind of dominate the ground as well. It was just like everything went really well for him. And obviously, when when things start to go well, and then they continue to go well, it makes the build look really cool as well. And that's exactly what happened in this first game. So it does go the way of ShoWTimE here, and it does go that 1-0 up. Newkirk Precinct map number 2. Let's see what happens this time. I mean, Proxima is the fantastic map for playing Sky Toss on or those sort of builds because you're very safe on your 3 bases. Newkirk is similar, but it is a little bit more vulnerable on the 3rd base because it is easier to engage into. Newkirk is a late game split map, sort of map in the sense that your 5 bases are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you just sit here and defend all of them. Proxima is a late game map in the sense that the first 3 bases come super easily, which then help you to take the 4th base and hold it, but, you know, that is still not as easy as kind of on Newkirk, so Newkirk gets the 3rd base, which is a bit more challenging to establish, just because of the map layout and the number of ways you can attack on into it. It's a bit more open. So, we'll see what this develops into. We'll see sort of if he wants to do something aggressive. Caston sort of recently, I think in a WardiTV weekly, it was probably a couple of weeks ago now, did play some aggressive playstyles in the ZVP, some Link Floods, etc. Doesn't look as though he's going to go for something like that this game, though. Looking for the 3rd hatchery already. He's already up on 23 workers and building more. He's just looking to, again, set up nicely as ShoWTimE goes into the Stargate. So Stargate it is to begin with. Yeah, just back into Stargate play. I mean, last game he went Oracle into the Phoenix, of course, and added on a 2nd Stargate, so it's kind of interesting. This game going to be just a little bit different for him. With the Robo coming up nice and quickly behind the Stargate, so we'll see how this develops, of course, as we have got the probe. On the right-hand side of the map, just going to pull back over to the left. Give me a moment to have a quick drink. It's kind of nice. We've been really just in and out of games pretty constantly today. Obviously, we've had a little bit of here and there where we've had to wait for some vetoes and figure something out, but it's really nice just to have hours upon hours of games that we can just cast and not really worry about anything. It's also the benefit of not having to run our own tournament, you know? You know, just someone else's tournament. We don't have to worry about the players showing up and organizing them and telling them stuff and all the rest of it. We can just sit back and cast the games. It's pretty great. It's my favorite sort of tournament to cast. Similar when we casted WCS Austin as well last week. In fact, that was this time last week. It was pretty similar because we just basically started casting and we kept on casting. It was a lot of fun. Oracle here from ShoWTimE will be heading towards the main base, so we're going to just pick off a couple of workers here and there. And behind this, he's going into the prism, because again, he went for that fast robo, and he's added on 3 gates, and it looks though he just wants to go for like a super fast 4-gate prism play again. Second Oracle on the way out. This is so weird, like this is so aggressive from ShoWTimE. I mean, ShoWTimE isn't afraid of being aggressive and doing things a bit differently, but this is really kind of to the next level, kind of crazy so far. It's crazy. Alright, so I'm just going to be seeing the couple of drones coming in towards the third base here. Some Lings and Banes on the way out, obviously setting up as ShoWTimE. He's already warping in though. I mean, the Bane nest isn't going to be ready in time. Is he going to have enough to really... I don't know, like... Sort of feels as though he's cut drones at a good point, but that's the thing. I mean, maybe cutting drones already is just going to make ShoWTimE kind of happy with this. I mean, he's got a third Nexus. He shades back. He doesn't lose anything. He's got the Oracle to pick off another worker. You know, I mean, you look at this, and I think ShoWTimE is completely fine, because this pressure is forced so much out of SortOf that... Now ShoWTimE has a worker lead momentarily. He has the third Nexus halfway done, and what's SortOf doing? He's sat at home, waiting to kind of deal with further pressure. This is actually really nice indeed. So the Adept's going to drop down here. The Oracles will pop their pulsar beams as well, probably looking to target down the Banes if they come close. I like the idea, I like using the Oracles to protect the Adepts. It's not something you see all the time. It's not easy to do either, but it definitely can be done, and if there's anyone to make something like that happen, they would be someone as good as SortOf, of course. Sorry, ShoWTimE, of course. He really has been so good lately. In the past year, I mean, it was about a year ago now. I mean, DreamHack Tours is actually coming up next week. It's not a StarCraft tournament. There's a BYOC, but no like major StarCraft tournament. And yeah, it's kind of. In fact, you know what? That's so smart. Why don't I cast DreamHack Tours next week? Why don't I try and get BYOC? Missions. That would be so clever. In the moment when you have like a moment of like, ah. But yeah, sorry. It was about a year ago where ShoWTimE won that WCS event against Nurture in the finals, WCS Spring Championship. Not be surprised to see him going a long way once again here, as we see the Hydler's Den dropping down from SortOf in the back of this mineral line. We're seeing the few extra gateways from ShoWTimE coming up as well. A couple of gates there. Temple Archives too. Setting up into this and seeing what's going to happen. +1 weapons from ShoWTimE also starting to build up here. As those few banelings just going to lift up into the Overlord and continue to move around. Things will run forwards and try and do some damage, but the Adept's just lifting up into the Prism and continue to move in towards the upper right hand side of the map, just hiding away up in this corner, you know. So hiding away up in this corner, this hatchery's starting to build out the front as well, 4th hatch. And there's a couple of Oracles coming through as well. Still just looking to see if he can do a bit more damage here, as again, just going to be seeing the Lings just sat down and just waiting to see what's up as well. Sonic Storm on the way from the Temple Archives, just Chrono boosting that away. I mean, it's a good counter to the Ling Bane Hydra, which is what we are seeing sort of set up into. The Storm does good damage to Lings, to Banes, and believe it or not, to Hydras as well. So it really does counter all 3 of the units that will be core to the composition of SortOf over the next few minutes of the game. Obviously, one of the difficulties with Storm against, and the reason that it doesn't just shut it down completely and make it completely unviable, is it's very difficult to get enough Storms up to hit all of the Ling Hydra Bane. And to kind of, you know, get that number of High Templar up in the first place, and then to hit those Storms against what is such a fast-moving composition. So it's still kind of viable. It's just a very good response because it gives you one of the better chances of defending against it. ShoWTimE playing pretty safely, pretty passively. I mean, just dealing with these Bane drops right now pretty well as also. Hasn't really lost too much. Warps and Stalkers to the natural to defend these probes. And this Overlord's going to go down. I mean, he drops off a couple of the Banes. And neither of them, or none of them, will hit the mineral. Oh no! My god! 7 seconds later, +2 melee would have finished, and that would have been what? 14 dead probes? Wow, that's hugely lucky for ShoWTimE. I mean, because again, if that is just, I mean, even still, losing so much health on so many probes makes this entire mineral line more vulnerable. Now it's only going to take one Bane no matter what to clean out the rest of it. So, one Bane here, one Bane there. Wow, that's a little bit of a mistake, letting a Bane connect. I mean, you just can't do that. That's how volatile the Banes are to those workers. So while that didn't look as though it was a complete win for SortOf, it wasn't the best possible scenario, it's still a decent scenario. It still gives them opportunities moving on as well. More Banes morphing in once more. Hydra's coming through the top side, and still this Warp Prism from ShoWTimE coming away towards the upper left. Just going to keep on moving through this upper side. Wants to hide away a little bit as well. We'll see these Lings trying to move forwards, trying to see if he can break through the front a little bit. And then this one High Templar with the potential to throw down a Storm on top of this Ling Hydra. And there it is. Storm goes down nicely. Hydras do have to back away. There's the cannon, which will kill off these rocks just to add another layer of security. A little bit of a late overcharge there. Not sure what that's really about, but it's going to come in useful. We'll kill off a couple of Zerglings at least. Meanwhile, main army over here, and Overseer is over there. I thought that was another Dropper Lord, but no, that's not the case. As you just see, SortOf trying to push, but ShoWTimE active on all fronts and not letting him get anywhere close to kind of doing major damage or anything. More of the army gathering up together now, and so ShoWTimE might want to gather his own army together. There's been a lot of Lings in production the last few moments. You see the initial Archon here doing a little bit of damage. Nice Storm that she kills off a couple of Hydras and gets another couple low. It's the exact sort of storms you want to be looking for. 3 more Archons morphing in. Will do again a great job tanking against a lot of the Bane connections. As you see, the Immortals also looking to do a similar sort of thing over here. Again, these Lings, Banes, and Hydras pulling back in towards the center a bit now. There's going to be seen more Lings gathering up as well, right in the center of the map. So all these units setting up, we're going to see again a lot of Banes starting to morph in right here. A couple Mortals up to the top side, seeing what they can do. Still moving around, still thinking about how he wants to try and approach this. Here we go, Revelation drops. Banes are going to get picked off quite quickly, I think. No, okay, he gets a couple of, I mean, it's still been decent trades so far by ShoWTimE. Look at that resources lost tab. 3,575 to the 7,687. It's a lot. Oh, Lings though again on top of the High Templar. 1, 2, nearly a third going down. That was a nice little play by SortOf. By the way, SortOf apparently did some really sick moves in his series against Puck, which was the first series Prelude list winners match for him. And it was apparently he neuroparasited a High Templar and then feedbacked the other High Templar of his opponent. If that isn't sick, I don't know what is. Like, that's so sick. Here we go again. We're going to see a couple of Storms coming down to just start weathering away at the army, no pun intended. And it is doing a pretty good job of it. You can just see that the Immortals and Archons will have no issue pushing further forwards into half-health Hydras. And look how confident ShoWTimE is feeling, pushing all the way through here. Cleaning out some creep as well and just taking away some more of the map control from SortOf, who is still just making Hydra Ling Bane. He's got no follow-up, he's got no transition. Compared to the Frost player, he's throwing down a second Stargate, a Fleet Beacon. These Banes coming out of that storm just to die to another. And SortOf's army is disappearing very quickly. Banes to the top side are the biggest issue right now, and they will begin to connect, but just on a few Immortals. The reality is they're not going to do enough as Zealots are allowed to charge forwards yet again. They will tank against the Hydras and do a good amount of damage as well. You just don't want them charging in towards the Baners, of course, and so ShoWTimE does a very good job of not letting that happen, as we do see. Again, Zealots charging forwards, Immortals, Stalkers, Archon, High Templar all warping into the left side. Still another Storm on top of these Hydralisks doing a good amount of damage here. There's the GG. ShoWTimE picks up game number 2. It's a 2-0 in the winners match here.